As the world evolves and adapts to the disruptions caused by emerging technologies, the Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce hosted members and non-members of the chamber to a tech event themed The Future and Challenges of Non-Fungible Tokens and the Metaverse in Africa. Given the welcome address, the President and Chairman of the Council, Mrs. Bisi Adeyemi, highlighted the importance of the technology in the new age, stating that the concepts of Metaverse and the NFTs have been fascinating over a period as experts see the Metaverse as a huge economic force that has the potential to significantly change the way we live, work, and sell in the years to come.
The concepts of Metaverse and NFTs have been fascinating over a period, but garnered more attention with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic as lockdowns forced everyone to stay at home and share online spaces for longer periods of time. Experts see the Metaverse as a huge economic force that has the potential to significantly change the way we live, work, and sell in the years to come. Indeed, NFTs as a key value driver. The Metaverse market size has been predicted to reach as much as $800 billion by 2024 and as high as $1 trillion in annual revenue, according to a report by Grayscale.
The panel session, which had seasoned experts, discussed further dynamics around the theme.
What is the Metaverse and what is NFTs and all of this good stuff? I kid you not, it's still all foreign. We're still making this up as we go. But let's dive into it. What is a Metaverse? A Metaverse is a virtually shared social space. So think of it as you being on social media on your phone, but rather than being on your phone, you're actually in your phone, so to say. With your avatar, 3D environment, and starting to experience a next level of interaction. And we have the virtual reality experience in the next room, which you could also try out and feel what it feels like to be in the metaverse. From a blockchain perspective, I think everyone has this notion of when you talk about blockchain, the automatic thing that comes is crypto. No, we need to separate it. Crypto is a use case of the blockchain, right? What is a blockchain? I kid you not, guys. The blockchain is an online version of a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. It's a database, it's a ledger that anyone, anywhere, publicly, if it's a public blockchain, can view this. You also have private blockchains. Again, think of it as an access database or an Excel spreadsheet saved on someone's, local computer. But the idea of the blockchain has a lot of components around it, things like immutable, things like security, things like transparency. If I sent money to my brother who's out here to his GTB account, only he, I, and GTB know about that transaction and anyone that can get a receipt of that transaction. However, on the flip side, on the blockchain, if I send money to my brother through the blockchain, through any cryptocurrency, just by providing a transaction hash, anyone anywhere in the world can see that transaction, the date, the time, the amount spent, and all of that. So it's transparent, right? So those are the benefits of, the blockchain. When we now talk about NFTs, NFTs are non-fungible tokens. And what does this mean? I kid you not myself, I get confused by the definition. Why is it even called NFTs? Like, out of all the names, NFTs. But that's the name. For us, it's now understanding the use cases of NFTs. And I'm going to sound a little bit controversial today as well with one of the use cases. So I'll give you an example. The stock market in Nigeria. If I want to buy shares, I talk to my stockbroker, say Ankoria, for example, and I tell them I want to buy Access Bank or Guaranty Trust Bank, right? What happens is I send money to them. They, contact the SEC or whatever intermediary, buy that, and then put it in my name. Now, NFTs work in a certain way or can be used in a certain way to disrupt that industry and clear out that middleman of the stockbroker if they are not able to evolve with the technology. So what that means is I could have an NFT, i.e. Access Bank shares. I could have 10,000 units of that as an NFT, and that is my NFT, and that is registered on the blockchain that says Jimmy Daudu has 10,000 NFT Access shares. I can send that to my dad, who is out here as well, and send him that same 10,000 pieces of Access Bank NFTs, and it's now his. All of that transaction has been recorded on the blockchain, and anyone can prove it. I don't necessarily now have to go back to Ancoria to say, hey, I want to transfer the shares to my dad. Can you sell it, take a transaction fee, which I pay? Can you buy it, take a transaction fee, which I'll pay again, and then put it in his name? So that's a base use case of an NFT within the financial service.
So in terms of the regulation now, what are the risks and opportunities associated with the recent development of NFTs and the metaverse in Africa and also Nigeria?
I will go into first the regulatory risk. We know that we currently do not have regulations for the space, and that's primarily because there's lack of understanding, incoherence, it's quite complex. How do you govern such a complex technology? Also, there are security risks as well. We know that it's a very volatile space. Crypto is up today, down tomorrow. So we understand that we've seen Terra Luna and all the antics that we've been seeing in the markets right now. There's also data privacy issues. So when we're talking about going into the metaverse, we're talking about, getting biometric information, sensitive personal information of individuals. Yeah, wearing, VR headsets that can scan your eyes. It's measuring your movement. It knows your physical space. Many times, if you use the VR headsets without lights, it will ask you to switch the lights on. So I'm like, are you watching me, or what's what do you need my lights on for? So there's a lot of information that's being passed along the lines. We also have code, which is now, we're talking about smart contracts. We're talking about vulnerabilities and errors that are happening in the system. We're talking about, like Jimmy was saying, blockchain technology. How do you govern blockchain technology? It's in the public domain, so there are different nodes, and everyone from anywhere can see any transaction that is going on. So governments are scared, central banks are worried. It's a whole lot of things to unpack, right? And there's a lot of worry about anti-money laundering. There's worry about terrorism, because funds are now moving without the influence of government, without the influence of central bank. You can actually move money across the world, and you can cash it out. This didn't used to happen before. There used to be some central place that you had to cash out the funds from, which still happens, but I mean, it can still transfer right now in a decentralized format. So that's quite risky, which is the reason why governments need to get regulations in place to be able to protect citizens and the government as well as a whole. And then we're going to the flip side, which is the opportunities. There's so many opportunities. You can be in Nigeria and be working for an organization in Cyprus. You can basically wake up in the morning and show up at a company in the US right now. You don't need to physically fly. You can attend a concert. You can have a meeting with your friends or colleagues. You can even set up an organization with people from anywhere. You can put the information out there on Discord. You have the developers that you need. You have the product managers. You have the project managers. You have legal. You have everyone in a team, and you've assembled them from different parts of the world. So we see that there's an opportunity here for Africa, for Nigeria, to tap into, because there are very many use cases for this technology.
It's going to take a while before the government actually implements some of these things. But what's wonderful is that we have private individuals, private companies that have been making use of these technologies right now. There are some companies, majorly fintech companies, that have their data and transactions stored on the blockchain. Of course, not publicly, it's not publicized, but that is actually happening right now, meaning that they are more efficient ways of them recording their transactions, which makes it safe for the users as well. But like I said, it will take time before the government picks up on this.
What are the key drivers of growth, really? What are the key drivers of growth going forward?
from last year, the transaction rate has actually increased by over 100%. And apart from that, we all know that year to date, the volatility of the market, not just the crypto market as well as global markets, has actually taken a dip based on happenings in Russia and Ukraine and all of that. So I would say like a major factor actually driving the growth now, apart from digital arts, is what the likes of Jimmy they're doing at Voltaire, where they're basically working on extended reality and all of that. And when we go into extended reality, we can even look at a use case in education.
Jimmy Daodu, CEO Voltaire, and Buki Okunshaki, Principal and Ed Satoshi, BPO solicitors at the event, speak further on how regulations can enable the deployment of technology through NFTs and Metaverse to unlock opportunities in the Nigerian economy.
And just talking about the use case within, the capital markets, right? Specifically around stockbroking and buying of shares, the concept of tokenization of assets and shares is an emerging technology on the blockchain, either be private or public, that these companies need to attach themselves to and fundamentally improve on. If, they do not, they either evolve or die, simply put, because this technology is here to stay. Folks in the Western countries are investing billions of dollars into this space. So, have a chat with us, come to us, Voltaire. We have an XR consulting group where we could talk through value proposition and understand how to make that paradigm shift from Web 2 to Web 3 space.
Speaking a lot about regulation, the truth is technology runs a lot faster than regulation does, because a lot of people are still trying to grasp and understand what the market is about. So I know that a lot of lawyers, regulatory makers and policy makers need to understand what the space is about and then begin to innovate in the space.
Sholakpe Akinpelu, Chairman NBCC Technology Committee Group, and Alexandra Bisi Adeyemi, member of the NBC Technology Committee Group, spoke about their experience and what to look forward to in the next edition.
I found it very interesting. I think the scope for expansion and knowledge is great. I think not just young people, but the Nigerian economy, the Nigerian socio-political environment could use and understand some of these blockchain technologies that help reduce a lot of the problems we have in our country with verification, transparency, authenticity. In governance, I think it's very important that we begin to deploy some of these technologies. I mean, we're getting digital voting and some aspects of it. Let's continue. Let us continue to ramp up. The demographic is growing. Their parents might not want it, but they are the ones that want it. And so let's continue in that space.
The opportunities are huge. The challenges, some of them were addressed, some of them will still have to go and self-regulate on them. But I'm glad that we're having these tough conversations, because at times these conversations, they are needed. They are edgy, but we should have them because they are here to stay. Like I keep saying, technology is not a fad, it's not a trend, it's here to stay. And so for as much as we leverage on it, the lesser the losses would make if we don't leverage on it.
Right, there are lots of CEOs. We find a lot of CEOs being members of NBCC, and we just discovered today that quite a number of baby boomers, so to say, are not embracing or evolving with this new technology. I mean, what do you have to say to that?
Well, I would just say that, again, to reiterate that technology isn't a trend. Like, it's a trend that will go away. It isn't. Actually, it's been long here with us. It's just that we're accelerating more on it. You use a phone, you're already in technology. I say in agriculture, as long as you eat, you're in agriculture, yeah? So I think the deeper we embrace it to solve huge challenges, to accelerate growth, to solve problems at scale, right? Especially for a continent like ours, and even Nigeria with the number of, with our numbers, and then, the major infrastructural deficits that we have. So I believe that technology can help us solve a lot of this at scale. So for any business owner, particularly, that is forward thinking, that is innovative, I would expect that, they should participate in, adopting technology, join the tech community. Let's be more involved, and let's keep pushing bright conversations forward for the chamber.
As nations explore the avenues to tap into the non-fungible tokens and metaverse technology, Nigeria has the opportunity to tap into it and achieve financial inclusion and economic empowerment for citizens.